Controlling your ego and motivating your students. Welcome to this podcast. So today I want to talk all about your mood, your energy, and your ego. We need to remember as instructors, we are there to service our students' needs with our knowledge and support in their success. So I want to talk about boosted ego now. You can build a big fan base of students that literally love you, and this can lead to a big ego boost. Remember, no one knows it all, not even you. We are constantly learning new things, or at least we should be. Remember, you are in a servicing role. Do not let your ego control your actions. You need to make sure you are servicing and not commanding. This is the right way. If you are saying something like this, back it up with evidence. So your role is motivate your students to excel. Show interest beyond the money. This will lead to further upsells and show you care about them on a personal level. Now I want to talk about they already know you. So what does this mean? So remember, they have already seen you in videos and lives. So their communication with you will be someone they already know. Even though it's a complete stranger to you, be accepting and open to this, and it will help you and them build a stronger relationship. So they've already seen you in videos. You've already communicated with them, maybe in messages or through communities, and they will have a feeling that you're their friend, you're their mentor, you're helping them on your journey. You're already a friend to them. Now, the thing is that you may never have met these people before, but if you can build that, you then get a student who is going to invest in you. And this will obviously lead into more sales further down the line. And also they will talk about you and boast about you. And they will get other people into your courses. So let's talk about falling into the ego trap here. So all of the above may seem obvious to you, but we've all fallen into this trap of ego. So have you ever said something like, I have been doing this for X amount of years. I think I know what I'm talking about. These sort of answers are your ego taking off, causing a very negative reaction. The people around you know your experience or education, so you don't do this sort of thing. It's not good practice, and it is very un-Zen, okay? Little plug for Zenler there. So you got to be a little bit careful when you are in these roles and you have got lots of followers following you, and you know your ego, your confidence can be boosted, and it's a good thing to have your confidence boosted. It's a really good thing, but it can lead to problems. So just watch it, always keep it in check, and try to stop it from happening. Also try to put yourself in the shoes of who you're teaching as well. Imagine all of the problems that you had when you were learning, going along this route, and try to just be sympathetic to people. Even if those people have got large egos and are pushing that towards you, just try to sort of calm it down if you possibly can and get back on track. So like, how do you stop this from happening? So first off, remember, everybody needs an ego. It's what pushes you to be better. So in essence, it's not bad. It's only when it pushes to the front that it can be a problem. And that ego pushes through and you're kind of like get into a defensive mode. This is when it normally comes out. So be aware of it. And the first step, learn to back anything you say with case studies or data. To stop your students from feeling bad for asking what to them is a valid question. Okay? So if you can back it up with evidence, case studies, let the data show the results. That's all you need to do. And that's all there has to be. Okay? So these are my thoughts. Okay? So these are my thoughts on it. I'm not, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. So, now what I want to do is I want to actually show this podcast to an expert that is in mind and psychology. And this is one of our team members, Liz. So I've just asked her my thoughts on this to find out her views. So her views are, well, I absolutely agree that it's always important to lead yourself and others with kindness, understanding, patience and compassion, because these are the qualities of great leaders and will help you create deep and meaningful relationships with your clients or customers and everyone else throughout your life. It's not just about the work, it's about life in general. So Liz is also, I've asked her, so what is ego? So ego in itself is a complex term which has many slightly different meanings. For example, the dictionary on one hand describes it as your sense of self-esteem or self-importance, whilst it can also be described as your conscious mind or the you that comes in mind when you think about yourself. So ego can easily mask underlying areas of personal development or emotional processing needs too. So it's always worth asking yourself, what's underneath this? Any time that you feel your ego coming to the surface in an imposing or uncontrollable way, as always, if anything is too big to handle on your own, do reach out for support when you need it, as your emotional and mental health absolutely matters. So when you find these things, we're going a bit deeper here. We're going about ego pushing through. I mean, you could say people with anger issues and these things, it can be an underlying problem. We're talking about here about work and about importance of knowing things more than others rather than the emotional side of people that have had problems in their lives and it's pushing through. So it's slightly different, but the ego, you can see, is such a big part of all of us. Okay. So Liz also moves on to say motivational support and services. So as a course and or membership creator or coach, you get to ease your customers' clients' journey as best you can from a position of support, service and motivation without judgment. You get to share your experience and those of others with them as you take their own unique steps forwards, which I think we already covered. So staying humble. So Liz addresses this staying humble side. So now your audience is probably at least a few steps behind you in your subject area. Well, you would hope so because you're teaching them. So it's good to be humble and consider what would have supported you best when you were in their shoes. Okay. So when you take the time to remember your personal journey and consider that you only ever know what you know in any specific moment, you will then easily be able to stay humble. As although you may be an expert in a specific area now, you will have started out with the same blank slate as your customers when you began. By working alongside them and meeting them where they are right now to help them, you will be able to forge great relationships, which will in turn encourage their ongoing support and maybe even result in referrals or repeat custom. Plus, of course, even you will have an off moment when you forget something, or you may be unaware of new discoveries, techniques, or understandings. And this is absolutely human. So as and when it happens, always strive to be kind and patient with yourself too. It has happened before where someone has said to you probably this has happened to you, it's happened to me on numerous occasions, they've given me some new advice. And even though they're a student, they've given me new advice on something. And I've gone, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, great. I've learned something. So it can be a very positive. I mean, some people can take it in the wrong way. Well, I knew that, but I didn't want to talk about it when they don't actually know it at all. And that's not a good thing, because you're actually lying, for one. And the other thing is that you're not taking it on board. You're almost shrugging it off, which is not going to be good to an experience. So this was a little podcast by me and Liz. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. It helps you moving forward as an online educator. But I think this is a really big subject, and it's definitely one that you should be thinking about when you're talking to anybody, actually. It doesn't have to be anything in life. You just got to be careful, and you've got to be considerate and kind. And I think that's the main thing here, is trying to do that. We all make mistakes. We're all human. It will happen from time to time. And you need to, the way you address it and the way you deal with it will be your life-saving grace. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast.